My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and one of the things that I really enjoy doing as a way to set the tone and the mood for our practice is I have this bowl of intention cards, and these are intentions of loving kindness that I have created. So I kind of give them a mix around, and then I pick the one that speaks to me. And so this is the one we're going to look at today. And by the way, if you send me art, people will share their art and they'll send cards. Just a warning, I tend to cut them up into little pieces like this and write sentiments of metta on them. So if you have any attachment to your art and you don't want it cut up, don't send it to me. Otherwise, this may happen. Friends, this one reads, "May your light be bright. May your light be bright." I really love that sentiment. And I'm going to close my eyes as I begin to settle into my body and my mind. And I invite you to do the same. Maybe encourage the body to have a gentle inward gaze. Take notice of the body and what it might need. It could be that for your practice today, maybe getting a little bit of rest would be helpful. And so I encourage you to find a comfortable place to lie down. On Wednesdays, we try to have a bit of a Zen practice. And in the tradition of Zen, there is a very formal posture that people are invited to assume. And I think that's great. And if that's you, then come into a noble posture where you're sitting in a chair on a cushion. The back is nice and straight. The belly is soft. The head is parallel to the floor. And I'd like your hands to find a very specific posture for our meditation today. And that is with your palms facing up. So whether you're lying down or seated, allow your hands to find a resting position where the palms are up. This is a posture of receptivity. And this is an invitation to receive. Allow your attention to notice the breath. Breathing together in community is a powerful way to cultivate connection and belonging. And to put the body into a more contemplative, a contemplative posture, aligning with our sentiment of metta, may your light be bright. Take notice of the resting posture of your head and see if you can turn your gaze either upward toward the sun and its light, or you can also bring your head, bow your head a little bit toward the earth. You could even do both and see if you notice anything different in your mood, in your experience. by the simple movement of your head gazing upward or gazing earthward. For the month of September in the Spokane Sangha, we have been exploring the brilliance of interconnection, interbeing, the many, many ways we are mysteriously and miraculously connected to one another, to life. This week we are exploring interconnection as appreciative joy, mudita, one of the limitless qualities that we can cultivate. As you gaze skyward, the brilliance of the stars and our sun in particular, you have evolved from their elements. You are their light. So as we gaze toward their brightness, may you realize and connect to their power as your own. Likewise, all of the elements of the stars coalescing over billions of years to create the conditions of the earth for complex living beings, of which you are. Your clay body is of these ancient elements as well. So to gaze earthward is to recognize your home, the place that shelters you and protects you, and the place that reminds you of your fragility as a human being. And nevertheless, its power is your own. So above you and beneath you is a brightness feeding and fueling your own magnificent light. If you are so inclined, allow your left hand to find a resting posture at the level of the heart, and your right hand a resting posture at the level of the forehead. And just allow your hands to rest. Close your eyes. Nobody's watching. Nobody's noticing. By intentionally putting our hands here and making this contact from below, from above, resting in the heart, manifesting in the mind, we bring the hands together, both now resting at the heart, right hand on top of the left, harmonized heart-mind. And breathe. May your light be bright. And should your arms grow weary at any time, you can bring your arms and hands down. Rest them comfortably in any posture that feels true. And as a continuation and an expansion of this beautiful practice of brightness and light, I want to share with you the words of Thich Nhat Hanh in the book we read every Wednesday called Go Slowly, Breathe, and Smile. For those of you who don't know, Thich Nhat Hanh was a very famous Zen master, the creator of Plum Village in France. He was Vietnamese. He died in his mid-90s a couple of years ago, and he was instrumental in bringing to the world's consciousness the beauty of mindfulness. He was very famous for having said, "No mud, no lotus." And what he meant by that is, without the mess and struggle, the muck and watery, murky darkness, the seeds of our being have nothing into which to root, to grow, to find the gentle embrace of the air and the sun's kiss into a lotus flower. He writes, "We practice in order to nourish the flower in us. We practice in order to nourish the flower in us." His breathing meditation for this is very, very simple. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. What flower are you? Breathing out, I feel fresh. What does that mean to you, to feel fresh? In Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings, the word fresh often refers to feeling anew. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel anew. Friends, in the next few moments of silence, I encourage you to entertain in your own heart and mind whatever image feels true to you. Maybe you don't feel like a flower today, and that is A-OK. There are days where I'm a little bit more like, I feel a little bit more like the noxious thistle weeds that grow on my farm with these really sharp needles on the ends of them. I feel so prickly and frustrated. And if somebody were to tell me to be a flower, I'd be like, blah. And then there are other days where I feel like this tree that I have on my farm that we call Grandfather Black Locust, enormous, sprawling tree with this really beautiful gray fissured bark. Other days I feel like a really delicate peony. Sometimes I feel like the dried up head of a sunflower bowing to the earth, ready to drop all those seeds. invite your imagination to come alive and into your bright light. Friends, we practice to nourish the flower within us. It's such a glorious reminder that small wonders like a flower that grabs our attention right out of the corner of our eyes can bring just a moment's delight, but that moment's delight could shift an entire mood of misery it could anchor a person struggling with a craving, just that moment of beauty, that moment of joy. And that's why its appreciative quality is in fact limitless. So as you go into your day, notice the flowers, notice the changing season. If you're in a part of the world where autumn brings harvest and a riot of color, may this bring you a joyful connection that the nature outside of you is the nature within, and you have the power to nurture it into bright light. If not, let's go ahead and until next time, and we'll dedicate our practice today with a dedication of merit. As you go into your day to day, take notice of nature. Our wonderful new friend in Florida who is weathering a hurricane today, in what way does the hurricane live in you? And it's not about making an enemy of it. It's not about resisting it. It's not about struggling against it. It's sort of like what Tim was saying. It's bringing it to our awareness to get a little curious. Would you look at this? I've got a swirling frickin' hurricane in my heart and mind right now. What's that all about? And rather than making these broad strokes that say, I'm only a hurricane, I'm only this prickly person, I'm only this soft, meek, mousy thing, we recognize that we're that thing, and we're so much more. So when you see a flower today, notice it deeply. Notice how its capacity to recreate itself in thousands of seeds, just tossing them into the wind for the potentiality of next year, one of them finding purchase in the right conditions to flower and to continue on. Your essence is just like that, touching the lives of thousands of people you may never ever encounter. And yet your presence, your smile, your light, it shines through, it pierces the darkest moment and brings healing. That capacity is within us all. Your invitation and your practice, mine too, is to bring it to the world in whatever way you can. Thank you so much for bringing it here and leaving it as such a beautiful, energetic source of inspiration for us to keep going. We'll see you next time, friends. Namaste.